Good morning. Welcome back to episode 3 of the Bout Some Football podcast. I'm your host, Kyle, and today I'll be going over my previews and predictions of the upcoming AFC divisional round matchup between the Cleveland Browns and the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a 3:05 kickoff time on Sunday afternoon in Kansas City with a cloudy and 40 degrees weather prediction. Some people consider this great football weather. I'm one of those people. The Browns activated left guard Joe Bitonio, cornerback Denzel Ward, and cornerback Kevin Johnson off the COVID list this week. Getting Denzel Ward back is huge, a cornerback born and raised in Macedonia, Ohio, so he's playing for the home team. This year he's only played 12 games, but while playing he's allowed his lowest yards per completion at 10.9 yards, but has allowed his highest completion percentage at 54.3%, 6% higher than last year's, which was his record low. Although Denzel Ward's stats did take a dip, it's a lot better in comparison than who was playing in his position for him while he was gone, which was cornerback Ronnie Harrison. Now, although Ronnie Harrison has improved greatly over 3 years in the league, he was drafted in the same draft class as Denzel Ward, he has still allowed 62% completion rate and a 12.2 yards per reception. Now, the other key piece that the Browns are getting back is going to be guard Joel Bitonio. This is their longest tenured player currently on the Browns. He spent the past 7 years for them after being drafted in 2014. Is going to help solidify their incredibly impressive offensive line, who ended up finishing first in both PFF's ranking for pass and rush blocking. This is only the second time ever that an offensive line has ever finished first in both pass and rush blocking at the end of the season. And for Joel Bitonio, he is also currently ranked first for the highest pass blocking win ratio for all guards in the NFL at 97%. Let's take a quick look at the injury report. Browns currently have 4 players, that being tackle Jack Conklin, linebacker B.J. Goodson, tight end David Njoku, and tight end Steven Carlson. Now, Conklin, Goodson, and Njoku were all limited on Friday, but Carlson would end up missing both Thursday and Friday's practice. All are listed as questionable going into the game on Sunday, but I think we'll have a much better understanding of who's going to play and who's not on Sunday morning. Now let's take a look at the reigning Super Bowl champions Kansas City Chiefs injury report. I didn't expect much coming into this due to their bye week. They'd have time to heal, and I was really surprised to see that they already ruled out both wide receiver Sammy Watkins with a calf injury and linebacker Willie Gay with an ankle injury. And they also had cornerback Rashawn Fenton, tight end Deion Yelder, and a big one, running back Clyde Edward-Helaire, are all listed as questionable. Now, Clyde didn't end up practicing on Thursday or Friday, so it's something to look at. He had a limited practice on Wednesday, so maybe they just gave him a few days off to heal. You don't know. We'll know much more coming Sunday morning. I think the key matchup for this game is going to be Myles Garrett versus Mike Remmers. The Chiefs took a huge hit when Mitchell Schwartz, their starting left tackle, went down with an injury back in Week 6 and would end up on IR Week 11. He missed those 4 games with those back injuries, and they finally decided that, hey, it's time to put him on IR. Let's just give him time to heal. You'd have to spend minimum 3 weeks on IR, and he still hasn't come off the list. So the Chiefs actually believed that he had a chance to play this Sunday, but Coach Andy Reid said that they didn't want to rush him back. Back injuries aren't something you really want to mess with, and they're just going to give him time to fully recover. Now, this leaves backup left tackle Mike Remmers to take on All-Pro, former first overall pick, the man who nearly killed another man on the football field. It was something that looked like a scene out of NFL Blitz, Myles Garrett. Don't get me wrong, Mike Remmers is a quality left tackle. He's filled in incredibly well for the position he was put in to block for Patrick Mahomes. But in the 14 games that he has played this season, he hasn't really matched up against anybody with the type of skill set that Myles Garrett has. Garrett, who's put up 12 sacks and 32 pressures this year while missing 2 games due to COVID, currently ranks 3rd in the league at pass rush win rate as an edge defender at 26%. That might not sound extremely high, but take into perspective that first place is Defensive Player of the Year candidate TJ Watt at 29%, so only a 3% difference. So don't be surprised if Myles Garrett goes out there and puts up 2 to 3 sacks this game. Key to victory for the Browns, really simple, run the rock. You want to get that 2-headed monster that you have in the backfield with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt involved early and often. When the Browns rushed for over 150 rushing yards this season, 8-0. Look, it's incredibly obvious. What's going to win you the game? It's going to be run the ball. When you run the ball, you get control of the clock. In the Chiefs' only true loss this season, Week 5 in the Raiders, Las Vegas ended up holding the ball for 35 minutes. You can dominate a team and not have to put up 40-plus points through running the ball constantly. That Raiders team didn't have a great rushing attack. They only put up 118 rushing yards against them. If the Browns go out there and put up 200-plus rushing yards, I don't think the Chiefs are going to be able to deal with that. I think it'll give them the opportunity to Browns possibly put up 40-plus minutes of possession time. You just keep rotating those backs. Now, the Browns' offensive line is also back at full power with Jedrick Wills, Treader, Bitonio, Teller, and Conklin all playing this Sunday. This offensive line is the power behind this team, and it's really a symbol for the city of Cleveland, hardworking men and women who don't really get the recognition that they deserve. Just like the just like the players in the trenches. This offensive line, I took a look at it, and beginning of the season, I wasn't too sure who Wyatt Teller was, and I didn't know how Jedrick Wills would pan out, and both have done amazing this year. Jedrick Wills has done a really good job at protecting Baker Mayfield's blindside, and Wyatt Teller has just came out of nowhere to be ranked as the best offensive lineman in the game. PFF wise, obviously, other rankings aren't going to put him first, but PFF has him as the highest grade currently. So getting that rush involved early will allow options like play action and just take those deep shots. So don't be surprised if you ended up seeing the patented Baker Mayfield bootleg to the right, 20-yard pass to a crosser route after a few rushing attempts on first and second down. It's going to happen. It's going to happen often. So just keep running the ball through the workhorses you have in the backfield and controlling the clock, and the Cleveland Browns could end up finding themselves in their first conference championship since 1989, which would be a big thing for the city. Getting their first playoff win since 2003 is also a big thing. So now for the Chiefs, their key to victory, really simple: just be themselves. You're the reigning Super Bowl champions. You go out there, you put up a lot of points on the board like you usually do, come out with a win like everyone's expecting the powerhouse team to do. Incredibly simple game plan. If they have to come back a few points, they can do that. They showed that all last year. And the only thing I'm worried about is the Chiefs really haven't looked like themselves since Week 12 against Tampa Bay Bucks. That was the game Tyreek Hill put up like 275 reception yards and 3 touchdowns. Great game. So actually what I want to take a look at is the games since Week 12 against the Bucks. A 22-16 win over the 5-11 Denver Broncos. A 33-27 victory over the Miami Dolphins, which included 3 interceptions and a fumble by Mahomes, total of 4 turnovers. A 32-29 victory over the Saints, which was a good game. They played really well. They didn't have a ton of offensive yards. I think Patrick Mahomes only put up 240, which, although is a lot in comparison to other quarterbacks, it's Patrick Mahomes. You expect something 300 plus usually. And then Week 16, they came out and put up a 17-14 win over the Atlanta Falcons, who they only didn't go to overtime because of Young Hoku's missed 39-yard kick as time expired. And a 21-38 loss to the Chargers. But I'm not going to hold that against Chiefs. They're resting all their stars. Patrick Mahomes didn't play. I don't think Tyreek Hill played either. So they just haven't looked, although they've won games. They ended up 14-2 this year, first seed. They just haven't looked the way that the powerhouse Chiefs did last year going into the playoffs. They just haven't really looked explosive, I guess you could say, since that Week 12 game. With Patrick Mahomes in December, which some people consider his best month since his rookie year, since his sophomore year, I guess, because he didn't really play rookie year. People have always thought that December was the month that Patrick Mahomes came out and played his best football. Well, it was less than ideal this year with 8 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and a lost fumble this year. And even if the offense ends up getting a slow start versus the Browns, they don't put up too many points in the first half. I'm definitely not counting them out. They've shown countless times that within minutes they can take a game from being blown out to blowing the other team out. It's something the Chiefs are good at, something that Andy Reid can design really well. So you can never count them out until the clock hits 0. Final predictions, you can't bet against Chiefs. So, especially at home, I think they're allowing 7,500 fans. They've done it most of the season, so I'd expect the fans to be there, especially for a home playoff game. I'm going to go ahead and take Chiefs 31-23, but do not be surprised if the Browns pull out a victory here. They are an incredibly talented team. I got a chance to look over their roster, who are almost fully healthy, especially next year when they're fully recovered with players like Odell Beckham, if still on the team. And their one linebacker, I can't remember, both went down with season injuries. They come back. It seems deadly. A lot of good players, great coaching staff. Kevin Stefanski's done a great job. And one thing I want to talk about, last week's game plan against Steelers, just know that was not the special teams game plan. I'll tell you right now, that was 100% Kevin Stefanski's. All he did was just hand the paper to the special teams coach, who ended up being the head coach that game. Great game plan against Steelers, great win. Just dominated the first quarter. 28-0, most ever points scored in the first quarter in a playoff game. And they showed that they might be a true threat here coming in, at least in the upcoming years with a young team that they are. So I got the Chiefs, but don't be surprised if the Browns take the win. That's the end of this episode, and see you next time when we cover the recap of the NFC and AFC divisional round games.